Is it audible? Am I audible?
Yeah.
So we'll wait for another 2 minutes. So everyone will join. Only 10 members have joined. First hour class is over. Is the first hour class is over? Okay. Shall we start? Let everyone will join. Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the last class, we were discussing some problems, right? That is the problems on warping stresses. So we'll continue the problems. There are another 2 or 3 problems are there. So that we will see and we will complete this stress analysis. Okay. Okay. The screen is visible, right? Is the screen
Yes,
is
sir.
visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope we have solved this question, right? This problem
Yes,
is
sir.
over.
Yes, sir.
Over, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Note on the next problem, that is take the heading as a frictional stresses. Okay. That is problems on frictional stresses. So very simple and very easiest problem in the stress problems. That is problems on frictional stresses. So kindly note on problems on frictional stresses. So only 2 problems are there. We'll complete these 2 problems and we'll start with the design of rigid pavement. The theory portion we will go through that and we will see how the design will be done for cement concrete pavement. So kindly note on the problem. The spacing between the contraction joints of a CC pavement is 4.2 meter. Determine the tensile stresses developed in the CC pavement due to contraction if the coefficient of friction between the bottom of the pavement and supporting layer is 1.1 and the unit weight of cement concrete is 2400 kg per centimeter cube. So kindly note down. So kindly inform me when it is completed so that we can go for solution part. Completed?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, write down, write down. Inform me when it is completed so that we can go for solution part.
Done, sir.
Done. Okay. Now we will go for solution. So first we will see what are all the things they have given. Now tell me what are all the data they have given. So what is the unit weight of concrete? W. Unit weight of concrete 2400 kg per centimeter cube. Then what is LC? Length of contraction joint. What is the length of contraction joint? Length of contraction joint
4.2 meter.
4.2 meter. Then what is the friction? What is the friction? It is developed
1.1.
1.1. Now the frictional stress. Okay, make a note. Frictional stress, or we can call it as a tensile stress also. We can call it as tensile stress. SF is equal to WLCF divided by 2 into 10 power 4. So input all the values here. So W it is 2400, LC it is 4.2, F is 1.1 divided by 2 into 10 power 4 meter. Now calculate the stresses which will be in terms of kg per centimeter square. So you can ask
Sir,
here why
LC
it
is
is
in
taken
meters, no,
4.2
sir.
only. Hello? What is the value? What is the value?
Sir, 4.2 meter, no, sir. That one.
4.2. We have to take directly, it will be in the meters. The conversion factor is already multiplied here. That's why we are going to take directly 4.2.
Okay, sir.
If this LC is not in meter means convert that to meter and you have to take. Convert it to meter and convert it to meter and take it. Okay, now tell me what is the answer? Frictional stress. What is the answer?
0.55.
554. So this completes the problem, and it will be asked for 4 marks. So remember, it will be asked for 4 marks. Simple. All the details will be given. Either they will miss this W value sometimes. So we already know that density of concrete. So density or unit weight of concrete is 2400 kg per centimeter cube. So if they have missed that one means you can assume the W is equal to 2400 kg per centimeter cube. Okay. So everyone kindly note down. Completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now done the last problem of stresses. So note down. The spacing between the contraction joints of a CC pavement. Okay. Here they may give the contraction joint, or they may tell that slab length. Okay. They may give slab length or contraction joint. Okay. Contraction joint or slab length, they may ask this one. Okay. Here they may ask, they may give slab length or they may give contraction joint. So we will be seeing what is these joints and various types of joints in the fifth module. Okay. In the fifth module we will discuss what are the various types of joints. So kindly make a note of this one. Note the question. So make it fast. So whenever it is completed, so kindly inform me so that we'll go for solution part. Completed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we will go for solution. One more question. Okay. I'll delete this Canva. Okay. Now they have given W value. What is the W? 2400 kg per centimeter cube. They have given. What is the F value? F value is 1.3. What is LC? LC
4.5, sir.
4.5. Now the tensile stresses or frictional stress SF is equal to WLCF divided by 2 into 10 power 4. Now W is 2400, LC is 4.5, F is 1.3 divided by 2 into 10 power 4. Calculate the value which will be in terms of kg per centimeter square.
0.702.
0.702 kg per centimeter square. I told right, it will be asked for 4 marks. Okay. Determining the tensile stresses. So kindly make a note of it. So we'll solve one last problem on this stresses problem. Completed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will be keep on typing the question. So you parallelly write down the question. Okay. The design thickness of a CC pavement is 25 centimeter and the spacing between longitudinal joints is 3.5 meter. Full stop. If the allowable tensile stress in concrete during the initial curing period is 0.8. Initial curing period is 0.8 kg per centimeter square, comma, determine the spacing between the contraction joints in order to prevent random cracking across the pavement. The unit weight will make a assume unit weight of cc is equal to 2400 kg per centimeter cube, and coefficient of friction is equal to 1.2. So kindly note down this question. So here they are given all the values. So you have to calculate the length of contraction joints. So kindly note down. They are given all the values. So here you are going to determine the length of contraction joints. Length of contraction joints. Completed? Have you written this question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Others? Have you written? Shall we go for solution part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now tell me what are the details they have given. What is the thickness of slab?
25
H
centimeter.
25 centimeter. Then what else they have given? The length of longitudinal joint they have given. How much?
3.5 meter.
3.5 meter they have given. Then they have given the tensile stress. What is the tensile stress they have given?
0.8 kg per centimeter square.
Centimeter square. Then what else they have given? W is given, that is 2400 kg per centimeter cube they have given. F value how much they have given?
1.1.
2. Now we know the equation SF. So make a statement here. Tensile stress or frictional stress is given by SF is equal to WLCF into 2 into 10 power 4. Now they are asking what is the length of contraction joints. So make the equation for length of contraction joints. So SC is equal to SF into 2 into 10 power 4 divided by W into F. Input all the values here. SF it is 0.8, 2 into 10 power 4, W it is 2400 into F 1.2. Check it how much you are going to get.
5.55.
5.5. That will be in terms of meter. Okay. So this is also expected question for 4 marks. So determining the length of contraction joints. Okay. Is it clear, right? So kindly note down this one. From tomorrow onwards, I am going to solve the problems on rigid pavement design. Okay, first 30 minutes we will discuss the procedure. What is the procedure adapted for design of rigid pavement? Later on, we will go for designing the rigid pavement for the given data. Okay, so now it is completed, right? I have written this one.
Yes, sir.
Others kindly respond. Is it completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll stop here. We'll go for a theory portion of rigid payment. Wait for 2 minutes. Okay, the slide is visible, right? Is it visible? Is it visible? Are you able to see this slide or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in the fourth module, till now we have discussed about the stresses which are developed in the CC payment. Why we have already know that the cement concrete payment is rigid in nature. That's why the stress transmission will be like slab action. Because of slab action, the stress transmission will be there. So because of the slab action, the stresses are going to develop. So we have discussed V load stress, temperature stress, and frictional stresses. Then the well-known scientist called Westergaard, he has came up with some general concepts in the cement concrete pavement. That is the modulus of subgrade reaction, radius of relative stiffness, equivalent radius of resisting section. Then we have known that the modulus of subgrade reaction, then radius of relative stiffness, then critical position. This is very important. So there are three positions are there in the CC slab where the stresses are critical. One is interior loading, edge loading, and corner loading. So when you apply the load on the interior portion of the cement concrete pavement, that we are going to call it as interior loading. Edge loading means when you apply the load on the edge of the cement concrete slab. Okay, that we are going to call it as edge loading. You can observe here. This is the interior. And corner loading. So these are the three types of loading we can expect, and these are the critical positions of the loading also. And equivalent radius of resisting section, we have discussed this one. Then we have discussed about Westergaard's stress equations. Okay, these are the Westergaard stress equation at the interior portion, edge portion, and corner portion. Then development of crack we have discussed. Then modified stress equations by Teller and Sutherland and Kelly. Then comes the temperature stresses. In the temperature stresses we have discussed about warping stress and frictional stresses. That is a temperature differential between the top and bottom of the pavement, which will result in warping stresses during because of the daily variation. If it is seasonal variation, frictional stresses are going to develop. Then warping stresses. So during daytime, the pavement will bend downwards. During night time, the pavement bend upwards. Then the temperature stresses. So because of the warping stresses, bending action of the slab, the stresses are going to develop. That is interior stress, edge stress, and corner stress. Then how we are going to calculate this temperature stresses using Bradbury coefficients. So we have solved some problems also here. Then comes the frictional stresses. So because of the seasonal variation, the frictional stresses are going to come into existence. Then a critical combination of stresses. Now the major important thing in the cement concrete pavement is the design factors. Okay, what are the design factors we have to consider while designing the rigid pavement? So in the design of flexible pavement, we have come across with this wheel load. We have considered design period, traffic, then subgrade strength we have considered, then drainage characteristics and environmental factors. These are the factors we have considered in the flexible pavement. But since rigid pavement is having so many advantages over flexible pavement. So as we all know that the rigid pavement which serve for a longer duration, and in some rare cases, the failure of the rigid payment will be there, but in majority, 90% of the places where the rigid payment is been adopted, the failure is minimum. The failure of the CC payment is minimum at the places where they have designed the CC payment. And when it comes for design life, I told it will exist for longer duration, that is up to 20 to 30 years. But when you compare with the flexible payment, the flexible payment will be last for 10 to 15 years. And the failure of the rigid flexible payment is easy. Okay, the analysis is also easy, and we can easily detect the failure in the flexible payment. But when it go for a rigid payment, the distress detection is very difficult, and analysis of the distresses in the rigid payment is also very difficult. And to overcome all the whatever the things which is there present in the flexible payment, they have invented this cement concrete payment with some design factors. So today we will be seeing what are those major design factors which will be used in the design of rigid payment. So the various design factors which are considered in the rigid payment is wheel load. So wheel load, which will be indicated as P. Okay, that is which will be indicated as P. So as we all know that wheel load means the load which is coming from the wheel of the vehicle. Okay, if you consider a vehicle, so there will be wheel to the vehicle is loaded. The load is distributed over the wheels only. So the load of the truck or vehicle will be transferred to the wheel, and from the wheel the slab is going to take the load. So that is the wheel load. One thing you have to consider, that is the wheel load, that is the P. Or we can call it as a gross load also. Gross load or wheel load, that is the total load which is applied on the vehicle, which is transferred by the wheels to the slab. Then comes the contact pressure. We already know that the pressure which is exerted by the tire. Okay, when you consider the slab, when the pressure exerted by the tire and the surface, that we are going to call it as a contact pressure. And we all know that P is equal to P by A. So load by area. So we can use this formula for determining the contact pressure. So tire pressure is different, contact pressure is different. Tire pressure means the inflation pressure of the air present in the tire, that we are going to call it as tire pressure. When it comes for contact pressure, the pressure which is exerted by the tire on the surface of the pavement, that we are going to call it as a contact pressure. Then location of loading. As we all know that there are 3 points of locations are there. One is interior, edge and corner. Okay, so as we all know that the pavement will undergo failure only in the edge and corner region rather than the interior region. Why? Because I told right, majority of the Indians, okay, the tendency of the Indians is that moving to the corner of the road or moving to the edge of the road rather than moving in the interior position. So if the load is very less at the interior position, means the pavement will not fail. If the load is applied on the edge or corner portion, means the pavement actually fails. Then comes the repetition of load. So as we all know that the load, not a single load will be moving on the pavement. So there will be more number of loads we are going to apply. So more number of loads will be applied, that we are going to call it as a repetition. There is a repetitively we are applying the load on the pavement, which will leads to fatigue. Okay, that is which will lead to repeated application of loads called fatigue. So the first and foremost factor we have to consider while designing the rigid pavement is total load, that is the wheel load, contact pressure, location of loading, and fatigue or repetition of loading, or we are going to call it as a stress ratio also. When we are designing, I'll tell what is this stress ratio. So these are the factors which should comes under a wheel load, which will be considered for the design of the rigid pavement. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Is it clear? Is it clear? Am I audible or not? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next one is the temperature variations. So during daytime, nighttime. So during daytime and nighttime, we have seen this temperature variation here. That is the warping stresses. So whenever the temperature during daytime, the temperature slab has higher temperature. At the top, the temperature is higher. Okay. At the top, temperature is higher. At the bottom, temperature is lower. Okay, what will happen means the slab will tends to bend downwards. The slab tends to bend downwards because the temperature is downwards, and the heat will be transmitted from the top to bottom, or the heat will be transmitted from a higher temperature to lower temperature. That's why the slab will be bending towards the downwards. So during the midday, top of the pavement slab has higher temperature than the bottom of the slab. This causes the top of the slab to expand more than the bottom fibers, and slab curls at the edges. At the edge, it will bend downwards. Okay, you can see there's arrow marker. The bending of the slab is towards downwards during midday. It is during afternoon time. Afternoon time, if you microscopically, you have to view microscopically, not in a macroscopic. To your naked eye or to our bare eye, it will not be seen. If you see through microscope means the slab slightly bends downwards at the edges in the afternoon time. When it comes for midnight time, the temperature that is temperature is less at the top and more at the bottom. Okay, more at the bottom. That's why the slab will bend upwards. The slab will bend upwards, and here also the temperature will be moving from, that is the slab will be moving from a higher temperature to lower temperature. Okay. So remember, during midday, the slab will bend from top to bottom. During the midnight, the slab will bend from bottom to top. That is from higher temperature to lower temperature, it will be bending. Then because of this bending, the tensile stresses are going to develop in the fibers, which will leads to warping stresses. Okay, warping stresses, or we can call it as a thermal stresses or bending stresses. Okay, because of the variation in temperature, that is the temperature differential between the top and bottom of the slab, the bending stress is going to take place, that is the warping stress. So remember, during daytime the slab bend downwards, during night time the slab bend upwards. Then because of that, during daytime and night time the warping stresses are going to form. Then comes the frictional stress. So because of the seasonal variation, okay, seasonal variation, that is a expansion and a contraction. Okay, because of the expansion and a contraction of the slab. Okay, because of shrinkage and expansion of the slab, the frictional stresses are going to develop at the bottom of the CC slab. So I have explained here also. So if you consider the cement concrete slab, below that the aggregate layers will be there. So sometimes the slab will expand by increasing their size. So the frictional stresses are going to develop here. That is SF is going to develop. when the slab contracts, again the frictional stresses is going to develop. That is, a frictional force will be developed between the slab and the aggregate layer. So because of the contraction and expansion. Okay. So this is the one point you have to remember. Then comes the design period. So design period, that is the time where the cement concrete pavement in its servicing for the traffic, that we are going to call it as a design period. How much time it can serve the traffic, that we are going to call it as design period. So for high volume roads, okay, for high volume roads like national highway, state highway or expressway, the design period of the rigid pavement is 30 years. So for busiest road like national highway, state highway or expressway, we are going to consider the design period as 30 years. When it go for low volume roads, the low volume roads like MDR, ODR and VR. I think, I hope you all know these things, right? What is MDR? Anybody tell? Can anybody explain what is MDR? MDR. What do you mean by MDR? Kindly respond.
Major district roads.
So, major district road, other district road and village roads. When you are constructing this CC pavement for this low volume roads, we can keep the design volume as 20 years. Okay, why? Because the traffic is very low. They will not be using the road and it will survive for 20 years. And remember, for this type of roads, we will be using a M40 grade concrete for high volume road. For low volume road, we will be using M30 grade of concrete. So for high volume road, it is M40 grade. For low volume road, it is M30 grade of concrete is used. Based on the design life, we will be using the grade of concrete. Then comes the subgrade strength. As we all know that the Westergaard, okay, he has stated that the stresses in the rigid pavement is basically depends on this modulus of subgrade reaction. So modulus of subgrade reaction is P by delta. So delta is equal to 0.125 centimeter. Okay. So whenever you conduct a plate load test on the rigid pavement, the slab will be acting as a plate, elastic plate, thin elastic plate, which is resting on a viscous media, which will be depends on this modulus of subgrade reaction. Why? Why? Because if you consider the radius of relative stiffness, there we will be using this modulus of subgrade reaction. So again, the radius of relative stiffness is used in calculation of stresses will be, it will be used, then Westergaard stresses. So for indirectly we can say that the modulus of subgrade reaction will be having some effect on the subgrade strength. That is, if the modulus of subgrade reaction is higher, okay, if the modulus of subgrade reaction is higher, we require a lesser thickness of rigid pavement. Okay, lesser thickness of rigid pavement. So this is the concept you remember. If the modulus of subgrade reaction is higher, means the thickness of the rigid pavement is lesser. Okay, why? Because the subgrade will be having a higher modulus of elasticity, that is it will be having sufficient strength to withstand the stresses which are taken which are given by the wheel load. Then if the subgrade is enough to take the strength, means why we require to give a larger thickness, so we will be providing the lesser thickness. So remember one statement here: if the modulus of subgrade reaction is higher, we require lesser thickness of rigid pavement. And this modulus of subgrade reaction is interrelated with the CBR of the soil. Whenever it is not supposed to conduct the plate load test, some places will be there where we can't conduct this plate load test and we can't determine this K value, means we can do the CBR test and we can relate the K value. Okay, by conducting the CBR test, we can easily determine the modulus of subgrade reaction. So, whenever the plate load test, whenever the provision is not there to conduct the plate load test, means we can easily go for the CBR experiment and we can easily determine the K value. That is how it will be interrelated. I will show in the future slides. That is when we are solving the problem, I will tell how this K value is interrelated with the CBR of the soil. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear up to here? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next comes the modulus of elasticity of concrete. So we have seen that modulus of elasticity of concrete is equal to 3 into 5 kg per centimeter square. So this is the constant value which will be used as the modulus of elasticity. Since concrete is not flexible in nature, it is a rigid structure and it is a brittle material. Okay, it behaves like a brittle. That is when you apply the load means it will break easily. At a lesser load only it will break. But if you go for the flexible pavement, that is the bituminous concrete pavement, means you can't break that pavement easily. Okay, because of that high Young's modulus of bitumen material. Okay, high Young's modulus of bitumen material, we can't easily break the flexible pavement. But because of lesser Young's modulus, we are going to have a lesser strength of concrete. That's why we will be using the concrete strength as a 40 MPa. Okay, for high volume roads we will be using 40 MPa. For low volume roads we will be using 30 MPa. So because of the modulus of elasticity of concrete. So because of a rigid nature of concrete, since it will not be behaving like a flexible pavement, we will be using the higher grade of concrete. Then comes the good drainage, that is a GSB or a DLC layer. So in the flexible pavement also we have discussed about this drainage. So if there is any, if you are not providing any good drainage system in the pavements, means the pavement is going to fail. So we should have a proper drainage system. That is, as soon as the water rain comes, means the pavement should remove the water without making the water to stand on the pavement. And in the rigid pavement, as we all know that it is rigid, solid in structure, and it will not be having any pores in the, or it will not be having any voids in the rigid structure, so that we can easily remove the water from the rigid pavement. And but in sometimes at the corner or edges. Okay, I'll show here. At the corner or edges, if there is any breakage, okay, if there is any breakage in the cement concrete slab, so if there is any breakage in the cement concrete slab, I'll show here. So let us consider a cross section here. So at the joints the cement pavement is going to fail. So if there is any removal of this joint sealant material, what will happen? The water enters into the bottom of the rigid pavement, and which will lose us the material which is below the CC slab. Okay, as you all know that when water enter into the soil or aggregate mix, what will happen? It will lose us the entire layer. Similarly, here also it will lose us the entire layer, and whenever the vehicle moves over this, okay, whenever the vehicle or wheel moves over this, means the thing will be out here. Okay, that is pumping will be occurred. That is because of wheel moving on the joints, the slurry which is present here, okay, the slurry which is present here, it will be pumped outside, and this process we are going to call it as a mud pumping. Okay, so the cement concrete should pavement should resist this mud pumping action. That is it should not remove it should remove the water as quickly as possible. If the water is not removed, means the water makes its entry into the cement concrete through the joints and it will make the pavement weaker. Okay, is it clear? So these are the factors you should in a position to explain in the exam. Usually they will not ask this what are all the factors considered for rigid pavement. In this rigid pavement they will be asking the problems on stresses and they will be asking the problems on design of rigid pavement. Is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So these are all the things, these are the factors we should consider. One is V load, then under the V load, total load, contact pressure, location of loading, repetition of load, then temperature variation, that is during daytime, night time. Because of the temperature variation, it will be developed with this warping stresses and frictional stresses. Then design period for high volume road it is 30 years. For low volume road it is 20 years. Then comes the subgrade strength, that is modulus of subgrade reaction. Modulus of subgrade reaction. Then properties of concrete. Since concrete is brittle in nature, it is having a poor modulus of elasticity. So you have to make the concrete to good elastic material, means by inserting the reinforcement in the cement concrete. That is by making the concrete PCC to RCC. That is the PCC. So plain cement concrete to reinforced cement concrete. By making this, we can easily achieve. Then drainage characteristics. So as soon as the rain comes on the pavement, it should be removed easily, quickly, so that the water will not be entering the rigid pavement. Okay, these are all the major factors you should consider in the design of the rigid pavement. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. So, any doubts in this? Any doubts? Kindly respond. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. So solve the problems what we have discussed. So those are the very important problems. I told they will be asked for 10 marks. Sometimes they will be asking for 12 marks also. So I have uploaded the old question papers also. That is 10 scheme, 15 scheme question papers I have uploaded. You can go through that and you can see what are all the things what we have discussed till now. Okay. So I'll stop here. So, anything to discuss other than this? I hope everyone are following the things right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in tomorrow's class, we will be solving the design problems. That is the design of rigid pavement problems. That is, it is very simple, but it consists of graphs. Okay, using the graphs, we are going to get the thickness and trial and error method. So try to learn interpolation method. Okay, interpolating. So it will be helpful for designing the rigid pavement. So interpolation. So get familiar with the interpolation. Okay, is it clear? Interpolation you have to familiar. You should have interpolation familiar with you. Okay. So by next week, we will complete this fourth module and we'll start with the fifth module. That is distresses in rigid pavement. So distresses, it covers around 3 to 4 hours. So by that time, we'll finish that one also. So any doubts or anything to discuss or any clarifications? If you have, you can ask me now regarding the Westergaard stresses. I hope the problems are easy. Are you facing difficult or easy problems?
Easy, sir.
Easy. Okay. Okay, I'll stop here. You can leave. Thank you. Have a good day.